So you just got your shiny new camera and you've been playing around with it a lot, and you think that it's time that you make some income from it. I'm gonna tell you exactly how to book your first paid wedding gig in 3 steps. I'm mostly gonna talk more from a video perspective because that's the bulk of my work, but this applies to photography as well. A little bit of background: I started out as an amateur photographer as a hobby, and then I fell in love with video. My first wedding gig I booked was for $600. This was about 4 years ago, and now I'm booking $4,000 packages and up. And even at that rate, it's more of a transitional phase because I have an ultimate goal that I want to get to, which is going to be substantially more than that. Like everything in life, you're going to need a little groundwork, and there's going to be prerequisites. And the prerequisite to booking your first paid wedding gig is step 1, booking your first free wedding gig. There is a certain science and steps that you have to take in order to go from free to paid. And these are things that I've learned through my own experiences that I think will help jumpstart your journey to become a photo or video entrepreneur and to own your own business. The first place that you're gonna look for your first free wedding gig is through friends and family. The thing with most couples who are getting married is that 90% of the time they'll already have a photographer booked. 50% of the time they'll have a videographer booked as well. You never want to approach a person right off the bat and say, hey, you know, I'm shooting video. Is it cool if I shoot your wedding for you? I'll do it for free, yada, yada, yada. That's a really impersonal way of approaching it, and that's a very impersonal way of starting a relationship. So what you want to do when you approach someone is to genuinely care about their feelings and their emotions. You need to remember that in this business, it's a symbiotic relationship. It's very important that there are a lot of positive feelings and there's a lot of happiness on both sides, for the couple and for you, the vendor, as well. So how I would approach it is start a conversation, you know. The goal is not to get the gig, so to speak, but really just to nurture a relationship. You want to congratulate them on their wedding and kind of just chat it up with them a little bit. And then you want to throw it out there like, oh, do you guys have a videographer for your wedding? So you have the conversation started and the person you're talking to tells you no, they don't have a videographer, or they don't plan to hire a videographer for their wedding. Now at this point, what you want to do is be really honest with them and honest with yourself as well. So what I would do is to tell them, hey, you know, I'm pursuing a possible career in videography. I've been doing it for a while, and you know, I want the opportunity to film a wedding as part of my portfolio. And if it's okay with you, I would like to film your wedding for you and edit it and give you a product for you guys to enjoy afterwards. Depending on your relationship with this person, there's different ways to approach it. But what you don't want to do is make it seem like you're doing them a favor, because actually you have no experience and you need them more than they need you. So in essence, the couple that's getting married is doing you, the photographer or the videographer, a favor by allowing you to be a part of their special day. Always be humble and always be thankful for that. So once you talk to them and they agree to let you shoot their wedding, the next thing you want to do is get them to sign a contract. This might not seem logical because there's no exchange of money, but you still need a contract just because there needs to be a solid agreement on expectations. Even though you're doing it for free, it doesn't mean that there's no standards that you have to stick by. So a contract or a written agreement will put everybody on the same page as far as what you're doing for them and what they can expect from you before, during, and after the process. We're not worried too much about having like a legally binding contract for this first free gig, but what we want is something written so that both parties know what's going on. So now it's the day of the wedding, you're probably gonna be nervous and all that's normal. You're gonna be super nervous, you're gonna be jittery, your hands are gonna be shaking, and you're gonna be super intense, but that's all a part of this journey that you're about to take to create a career out of a hobby. I'm not going to get too much into all the exact things that you need to do as far as the process of shooting the wedding and the editing of the wedding video, because at that point we're really going to be rambling on for a very long time. The key thing that you want to do is you want to be able to film as much as you can, and then you're going to edit 2 videos for them. The first video that you're going to edit for them is a 3 to 5 minute highlight video. The second video that you're going to edit for them is a real-time documentary cut. A good way to do this is to give the couple their full ceremony as well as the formal speeches and toasts. And if you want to include parts of the reception, you can do that as well. It's up to you. But the main thing that you want to get out of this free gig is that highlight video, because the highlight video is what's going to be your portfolio and it's going to help you get your paid wedding gig. So all of that is step 1, which is to book your first free wedding gig. Now step 2 is to get your ready. you want to have your website set up, you want to have your Vimeo set up, maybe your YouTube set up, and you definitely want to basically cover all your social media bases. And what you're looking to do is to create a presence on the internet so that when you do book that potential client for your paid wedding gig, that they have a place to go. Like they can either visit your website or go on your Instagram or go on your Facebook. But whatever you choose to do, it should definitely portray you as who you want to be. So it shouldn't just be like your personal page with a few pictures of like dogs and cats and things like that. It should show you as a wedding photographer or as a wedding videographer, and it should only show that. There should be no family portraits, there should be no architecture, none of that stuff. If you want to do this and if you want to succeed and make money, you need to be laser focused. One thing that I see a lot of, they'll have their website, they'll show weddings, and then right next to it, they'll show boudoir shoots, which to me is totally inappropriate. And I get it, like they want to portray themselves as someone who could do anything. You know, oh, I could shoot weddings, I could shoot family, I could shoot lingerie. Maybe that works for them, but in my experience, if you're gonna shoot weddings, just shoot weddings. Don't do anything else. And if you don't agree with me, that's okay. But just to start off with, let's just try to focus on weddings, and if you do want to scale or expand to other things later, you can. Now that you have everything set up online, you're gonna have to go out and look for this potential client and convince them to pay you their hard-earned money for you to film or photo their wedding for them. Again, you can reach out to friends and family, but the approach and the start of the conversation has to be a little bit different. One way to go about it is to, again, be really honest. Hey, you know, I'm starting a wedding video business. I've shot one wedding so far. Here it is. I would like to offer you my services at the rate of X, X, and X. Now, if you're on the coast like San Francisco or New York, my personal opinion is that you should start it at $500. But if you're somewhere in the middle of the country or in a market that's not as blooming, your minimum should be $250. There's no real justification behind these numbers because there's a chance that you put in a lot more work than you're getting compensated for. But you still need to set that standard as far as what you're worth. Now, once you decide what you want to charge for this first paid wedding gig and you put it out there, there's really just two options. They're either going to say yes or they're either going to say no. And the reason I say there's only two options is because there's going to be people who say, oh, you know what, I can't afford what you're asking for. I can't afford $500. I can't afford $250. Oh, you're just starting out. How about I give you $100? How about I give you so-and-so? I'm going to tell you right now, when you encounter those people, just cut them out. Like, just pretend they don't exist. You don't want to negotiate with anybody because you've already put in the hard work to get past step one, which is to book the first free wedding gig. And even though it's free and you didn't make any money, it's still your hard work, it's still opportunity cost, it's still sacrifice. So you should never, ever dismiss your own value. If you don't feel as confident, you can repeat step one or two more times so that you have 2 or 3 weddings under your belt. But I truly believe that if you're gonna do it, now is the best time. You don't need to wait for 2 or 3 weddings later. You can just do it now. You already did one, why can't you just do another one and get paid for it, right? So you talk to the client, you agreed on the price, same thing. You're gonna send them the proposal. The proposal is gonna list out what you're gonna do for them and the terms, etc., etc. They sign it, and here's the key thing that you need to know. And the mistake that I see a lot of people make is that they'll take a deposit, or what we call a non-refundable retainer, and then they'll take the remaining balance on the day of or after the wedding. To me, that's straight bullshit. You need to get paid everything before you even show up, because it really sucks when the couple's having fun and they're dancing and you're gonna have to walk up to them and be like, hey, you know, I need to get paid. It just doesn't make sense. And after the wedding, they're either gonna be on their honeymoon or they're just gonna be tired, and you don't wanna bug people about it. You wanna get the business part of it out of the way first so you can focus on the creative part and the part where you service the client. Starting out with only 1 wedding under your belt and not that much confidence, you might not be able to convince a client to pay you everything before you shoot for them, you know, because they're just gonna be like, who the hell is this guy? Why would I pay him all the money and not even know if he's gonna show up or if he's gonna do a good job, so on and so forth. But really, it all comes down to this. When you're doing business, you're not who you are who you want to be. So even though you have 1 wedding under your belt, you have to carry yourself as a person who has done weddings their whole life. You have to have that confidence. That confidence is going to give you strength to get you where you need to go. So all of that is part of step 2. So there you have it. Step 1 is to book a free wedding gig. Step 2 is to get your ready. Step 3 is really simple. Step 3 is book that paid gig. Those are the 3 steps to booking your first paid wedding gig. Don't think too much about it. Don't be afraid, just do it. That's the most important thing. Just follow the steps and just do it. And I guarantee you that everything will turn out okay, and I guarantee you that you will succeed. Failure is not an option. I hope that this video has been helpful to you. And if you enjoyed it, definitely click that like button. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot me a message or leave me a comment, and subscribe, because I'm going to elaborate more upon this whole process of building a wedding business. So yeah, thanks for watching.